watched together in the back seat of the car. The three siblings were arguing, as usual. Mom, Mary yelled, Jaden just elbowed me. I did not, Jaden said, sighing heavily. I just opened my novel. Mary mocked. Why can't you just say book like a normal person? Jaden, you always get car sick when you read in the car. Put the book away for now, his mother said, not taking her eyes off the road. Angrily, Jaden thumped his book shut. If I can read, can I at least pick the music? He asked. No way, Alika said. Your music stinks. It does not stink, Jaden said. I listen to stuff that has complexity in the lyrics. That's all. Just because you've taken one too many hits on the head with a softball. Dad turned around. All right, that's enough. I don't want to hear another word out of you until we get there. Get where? Alika said. Why won't you tell us where we're going? Dad just smiled and picked his finger to his lips. The car pulled up outside the tinted glass building with a glowing neon sign that read detention. Escape room for kids. Detention? Alika yelped. Are you serious? Mom grinned at them. Everybody out of the car. The three kids dragged themselves out of the back seat and stood in the row staring up at the sign. A young woman came out of the building to greet them. Here you, Dad called to her. Just remember that we agreed. Don't let them out until they solve it together. And with that, Mom backed the car out of the lot, waving cheerfully out of the window. You'll do great, kids. Just remember to cooperate. The car pulled away, and Marie, Alika, and Jaden stared after their departing parents in disbelief. I'm Sonja. I am Sonja, the young woman said briskly, leading them through the front door. I'll be your game master today. Have any of you done a escape room before? I have at my friend's birthday party last spring, Alika declared. These losers haven't though. Mary rolled her eyes. Jaden crossed his arms and started off in another direction. Sonja, looking at the slunking kids, laughed and pointed at the door. Well, you'll all get an opportunity to try out today. That's your room. It's set up like a spaceship. The story goes like this. You three are space pirates and you've just boarded this ship. And the entire crew has abandoned the ship ahead of you. They've disabled all of the systems and set up a really elaborate series of defenses to prevent you from getting to the command module and seizing control. You have to outsmart them, their defenses, to commander their ships. And the defenses take the form of puzzles that you'll have to solve. Once you solve the puzzles and break into the command module, you'll escape the room. You'll start in the captain's quarters. There was a short silence, so Mary said finally, You're going to lock us up in a room together, and we can't get out unless we solve a bunch of puzzles? That's exactly right, Sonja said. In fact, you'll be playing a pretty special game today. Normally, we give teams hints. And we also give them a time limit. If a time is having trouble, you'll let them out after an hour. However, your parents have requested that we ignore both the hint system and the time limit in your case. You'll be in until you solve the room. However long that takes, and you'll have to work together, with no help from me. I'll be watching, of course, but only as a safety precaution. She opened the door and gestured them through. Everybody good? The three kids stared at her, aghast, so just smiled gently, closed the door behind them. Jaden, Mary, and Alika looked around. They were in a sleek gray room with several sets of keypads and dark LCD screens. A clock on the wall read 12:59. A bunk bed, neatly made, and a shelf with 10 massive books on it. Over the bed was a framed family photo, a woman in a captain's uniform, a man, and 4 children. Now what? Jaden asked. I really can't believe I'm stuck in here with the 2 of you, Alika sniffed. Mary snorted. Me either. It's obvious you two aren't going to be any help with the puzzles. Neither of you is any good at math or coding. Whatever, Jaden said. I'll start with the books. Go ahead, Alika said, folding her arms. Jaden went to the bookshelf and started ripping through the books. Mary darted out around the room, while Alika started at the floor. Nobody said anything. After about 5 minutes passed. Jaden, Mary asked tentatively. Are you getting anywhere? Jaden snapped the last book closed. No, he said in disgust. Every single of these is blank inside. Alika looked up. Well, I've done an escape room before, and I just noticed something. If you two geniuses can spare the time to listen, she said, pointing up. Look at the clock on the wall. It reads to 12:59, but that's not the right time. Right now, it's more like 2 p.m. What is the time? What if the time is a clue? It could be a code, said Marie slowly. What if we type those digests in some of these keypads and see if anything happens? That seems pretty unlikely to me, Jaden said. Oh, come on, Mary responded impatiently. Just try it, will you? There are tons of keypads in this room. And if we all try and it works, we might get out of here that much faster. That's true, Alika conceded. And after a moment, Jaden nodded too. The 3 kids fanned out and began typing 1259 into keypad after keypad. At first, nothing happened. Then Alika yelled triumphantly, I got it! A door to a small compartment has sprung open above the keypad she was working on. Inside the compartment was a miniature blank notebook. Alika snatched the notebook and flipped it over, then groaned in disappointment. What's the problem? Asked Mary. I think it's a cipher, Alika said. Look at it. It's total gibberish. Mary flipped from page to page, but was forced to agree. I can't find any pattern here. she said, frustrated. Jaden took the book from Marie. Hold it, he said. This first page looks different. It's not gibberish, but I don't understand it. He showed them the first page, which had only 3 words on it. A community fly. Is this a clue? Jaden asked. How could it be? Said Mary doubtfully. A community fly doesn't tell us to do anything. Right, but Jaden frowned. What if a community fly isn't the instruction? What if it's scrambled like an anagram? What's an anagram? Asked Alika. It's when you mix up the letters of a phrase to form another phrase, Jaden explained. Pulling a pencil from his pocket, he began scribbling notes directly into the blank notebook. After a couple minutes, he looked up. I've got it, he said. I unscrambled the message so that a community fly now read, Count my family. My family, Alika murmured. Here, she pointed to the family photo above the captain's bunk. There are 6 people in this photo. What do we do with the number 6? It's got to have to do something. It's got to have something to do with the cipher, Mary said. Everybody stayed quiet and let me think. Rude, Alika murmured under his breath, but Jaden shook his head. Leave her alone, he whispered. She's been right once already. What if it's a shift? Mary said suddenly. A what? Asked Alika and Jaden in unison. It's a shift alphabet code. You shift all the letters of the alphabet just the number of spaces to the right, Mary explained. So if my guess is right, we should be able to write down the alphabet. Shift all the letters 6 spaces to the right. Decode the book that way. Well, why not? Jaden asked, shrugging. He ripped out a blank sheet of paper from the back of the notebook and offered it to Mary. Mary wrote the alphabet, then a new version underneath. So now we match up the letters, Mary concluded, and see if that will crack the code. She glanced at her siblings. This will also go a lot faster if we tackle a page. If we each tackle a page, the 3 kids bent over the notebook, filling in the letters, and the words slowly began to take shape. August 9th, Alika read laboriously, declared near Pluto colony. He paused. Hey, this is working. Gently, she punched her sister's arm. Nice job, Mari, she said quietly. Thanks, said Mari, a little embarrassed, and then quickly went back to the cove. October 20th, she remembered. Eclipse sighting. The captain treated his logbook like a diary, Jaden said, reading over the text he had just decoded. Listen to this. I am 2 light years from home. I remember it so clearly. The house is enveloped into trees and hills, he said, 2 miles north and 1 mile east of Centreville, with all 3 bedrooms on the south side of the house. It's kind of weird to put that in a logbook, isn't it? It does sound weird, Alika said. Wait, what if that's another clue? She got up, started plowing the room. Eventually, she stopped by her room and turned to the other other two with a smug impression on her face, pointing to a joystick she'd found mounted on the wall. I wonder what this does, she said. Read those directions again, Jaden. True north, 1 west, 3 south. Jaden said. Alika moved the joystick up, left, down, down. Nothing happened. Try the pattern twice, Jaden suggested. Then she says she's 2 light years from home. Alika repeated the pattern, and suddenly the wall next to the joystick split in half. The opening grew wider and wider, revealing a dark hole beyond. The three kids moved toward the gap, with mouths hanging open. As they stepped onto the threshold, however, everybody jumped backward with a yell. In the darkness beyond the opening, a field of moving lasers had lit up, and the red and green light cast by the shifting lasers. They could dimly see another hatch of Thor on the other side of the laser field. Mary stepped hastily into the laser field. The beams of light brushed over her hair, feet, and arms. Each time the lasers touched her, the movement shuddered briefly to a halt, then began as though nothing had happened. The lasers don't seem to do anything, she reported. Let's see what's on the other side. The 3 siblings moved toward the dark laser field, and when they reached the hatch of the other side, Alika pushed on it. To no effect. The hatch was locked. Marie found a red button mounted on the wall next to the hatch. Experimentally, she pushed it, and a ear-splitting horn resounded through the room, and all 3 siblings jumped backward, clenching their ears. Okay, so that's not quiet. Right either. Alika said, peering at the button. Hang on, though. There's an instruction on this little packet underneath. She read out the word, freeze the lasers, push me. How are you supposed to freeze the lasers? Marion wondered. That could be a clue, Jaden said, pointing. There were words painted on the floor underneath the laser field. Where can you add 2 to 11 and get 1? Okay, math whiz. Can you solve that one? Alika asked Mary. No, I don't understand that at all, Mary admitted. Wait, Jaden said. It's a riddle. You can add 2 on the clock, 2 to 11 on the clock, and you get 1. The 3 kids looked at each other, then ran back to the wall clock and had given them their very first clue. Alika, who was the tallest, reached up and started running her hands along the crack. As she reached beneath it, her fingers brushed up against the switch. She clicked it. The lasers immediately froze, creating a complex pattern in the room beyond. At the same time, one of the LCD screens on the room turned itself on, flashing a scroll message. Invaders beware, it read. The lasers guard this door. Guard the door. Touch them at your peril. What peril, though? Jaden mused. They don't hurt. He waved his hand through the laser field, touching a beam of light. As soon as his Anger searched a laser beam. The entire laser field began moving again, flicking through the room in random patterns. If you put in the instructions together, Alika said slowly, we're supposed to use the lasers, get to the other side without touching any of them, and then push the button. Mary and Jason looked at each other. Okay, Jack, go do it. Mary said to Alika, grinning. Alika smiled back. Then she began to weave, crouch, stoop, slide, and jump her way through the frozen laser field. Her siblings watched her, gasping at a couple of near misses, and cheered when she figured out how to get past a particularly difficult combination. Finally, Alika reached the other side of the laser field and pushed the button on the wall. The lasers vanished, whooping Jaden and Mary ran to join her, and Kiddet just stopped in the front of the far hatch, which had no handles. There's nothing here, Alika said, except she bent to examine a rough textured area. She had felt on the floor with her foot. It turned out to be a tiny, slightly raised set of footprints. What if I step on this? Alika wondered. She tried, but nothing happened. Mary and Jaden bent to look too. What if we all step on this? Mary said. Yeah, there's more than one footprint, Jaden pointed out. And everyone nodded, and the three kids stomped together. The hatch slid open to reveal what was unmistakably a ship's command module, with Saja and the game master swiveling around to greet them and pat them from a paddle chair. Congratulations, you've escaped, she said. How did it go? Not so good at first, Jaden admitted. Yeah, and needing all of us working together, Mary said. It's a lot more fun once. It was a lot more fun once we started cooperating, Alika added. As weird as you two are, she grinned. We needed everybody's brains. And this one, Mary and Jaden laughed. I'll call your parents, Georgia said. The tension is over. I think our work here is done.